Hi, this is Rich Judge, technical agronomist for DeKalb-Asgrow up in north central Iowa. We're just looking at some VE corn today that's just starting to emerge. We're a little bit southeast of Rudd, Iowa, in a field that was planted April 25th to 5464, and today is May 7th. So we don't have a fully exposed first leaf yet, but certainly can see a good amount of the stand is already up and able to row it. So we're going to do a little digging to evaluate and make sure everything's going okay. Really doesn't look like we're having too many misses and only one out of position so far. So the rest of these are almost dead on 6 inches, which is exactly what we wanted to see out of the planter. So we went out to the field and we got ourselves a couple little examples here that we're going to evaluate right quick. Important thing when we're digging these up though, you got to remember to dig enough soil area that you're not cutting all these roots off so you can evaluate the whole thing. But first thing we can figure out on a plant like this is the planting depth. The mesoscale will elongate. When that coleoptile, the protective sheath, hits the soil surface or senses sunlight, it's going to rupture. And it'll set this little nodal ring here about inch or so below ground. So if we just kind of quick figure out where that nodal ring is to where the seed was plus an inch, we're right at a 2-inch planting depth, which is absolutely perfect. The second thing we're always looking at on these seeds is mainly for disease and anything else that might be attacking it, like say an insect. Typically the disease is easiest to find where that seed first opened up. So the germ right there has been opened up the longest. A lot of this other tissue is new growth, and looking for that area to be bright white, clean, and not showing any discoloration. Another good clue is to look at that you got a fairly sizable radicle, and it isn't trying to do everything with the seminal roots over here. So this is all looking positive, and that's mainly what we've seen so far in north central Iowa. Also, the seed's quite firm, which means the seed's not starting to deteriorate. That starch that's left in that kernel is still going to be able to supply seed or energy to that seedling till about V3, and that also looks very promising. We also talked about on our email what are some things we might run into. Well, one, with the dry soil conditions, people were worried about starter burn or the time between anhydrous application and planting, and a couple keys we can go in on to see if that's impacting a particular stand or plant is typically that injury will be right out on the root tips, and if you get them cleaned off a little better, so it might take a bit of water, but that'll be brown, almost like you put a match underneath it, and it will be at the distance. And also it'd be hard to see on the camera, but this one has a lot of little fine root hairs. Those typically don't exist if you're having starter burn or something like that. So doesn't look like we're on the case there either. With the cold soil conditions, plants being underground for quite a period of time, you also want to look out for insects. So probably the most common culprit in a year like this where it wasn't wet and saturated but just cold would be Mr. Wireworm, and they like to eat this starch, and since this seed is still firm, it's still quite the buffet for them. And with the cooler soil temperatures, we'll have to kind of watch those. The DeKalb-Asgrow seed treatment, however, carries a pretty stout insecticide load. You might lose a plant here and there, but typically it can protect your stand for quite a while against a pest like that. So it shouldn't be a big deal this season.